Okay, today let us learn the first part of chapter 5, Human Resources, from your social science geography. Okay, uh, well, chapter 5 is Human Resources. We will try to cover the introduction part of that very lesson, composition of population, including sex composition, age composition, and literacy levels. And also let us try to cover this population change. Okay, so in the next class we will try to cover the other topics. So before we go into the details of this very lesson, let us try to see together. Let us try and see together some of the important words that will appear in this very lesson. The first one is sex composition, the proportion of male and female in the total number of population. That is what we call as sex composition. Census, an official enumeration of population done periodically. Okay, the counting of the number of people, we can say census. Sex ratio, number of females per 1,000 males, in the ratio of number of females per 1,000 males. Okay, density of population, the average number of person per unit area, such as a square kilometer. So the number of people in 1 square kilometer, that refers to density of population. Migration means change of place or living. That is what we call as migration. Well, uh, you know, in the previous class we have studied and we have discussed together that man himself is a great resource, known as human resource, right? Or in other words, it is also known as manpower. Okay, one of the reason is he has the ability to change substance into valuable things, right? And not only that, he has inexhaustible store of energy, as well as he has a lot of skill. That is why man himself is a great resource, considered as a great resource. We have studied so many resources, right? Forest resource, this resource and that resource. And also, most importantly, this man himself is also a very great resource and a very important resource. And this human resource is very necessary for a nation. The reason is it helps in the development of a country, and also it also helps in the development of the individual itself, or individual himself, so to say. Okay, so with the help of human resource, we can produce, or a nation can produce resources effectively. Even if a nation have a lot of natural resources, okay, such as land resources, forest resources, mineral resources, but if they don't have these human resources, the production will be very ineffective. Okay, so the need of human resources is important for a nation. So that is why uh, population, as far as this population is concerned, it has been categorized into 3 categories. The first one is what we call a sex composition, okay, age structure, as well as literacy level. We will try to discuss all these points one by one in detail. The first one is sex composition. Sex composition, it refers to the proportion of male and female in the total population. Suppose if we have 1,000 population, how many females are there per 1,000 males? Okay, so that is what we call a sex composition. So it means number of females per 1,000 males. So it is usually measured, or it is usually calculated 1,000 females per 1,000 males. Okay, I'm sure you have understood up to here. All right. It is expressed with the help of a ratio known as sex ratio. So females per 1,000 males is the sex ratio of a country. All right. So it is calculated in that way, in a ratio using a sex ratio. So sex ratio in India is, if we come to India, it is very unfavorable to female especially. One of the reason is because of the high death rate of girls before and even after the birth of that very girl child. Understand? So it is unfavorable. But if we consider the female population of Western countries such as Europe, America and all, their ratio of these females, or sex ratio of these females, are very high. Understand? Because they are very much concerned about this female child or girl child. And not only that, lesser attentions are paid to the girl child. And not only that, it is because of the lack of proper health care. So the Indian parents are not very good in this case. They pay more attention to the boys, especially. No, okay. Discrimination, I should say. There is a sense of discrimination is there. So most of the attention have not been paid to the girl child, and also they have lack of proper health care. Because of that, sex ratio in India is very unfavorable to females. Okay, so if I ask you in the exam why sex ratio in India is unfavorable to females, you have to say because of the high death rate of girls before and after birth, and also lesser attention have been paid to the girl child, and it is also due to the lack of proper health care. Okay, next, age composition. It helps in the estimating births, deaths, as well as the migration trends of the population. All right, and secondly, it also helps the government in making plans for various welfare programs. So according to the data, okay, the government can plan out what are the health conditions, what are the literacy conditions, what are the this condition, that food condition, all these things government can plan for various welfare programs. So in India, especially in India, we have three categories: 0 to 15 years, 15 to 65 years, and above 65 years. Okay, these are the age composition that has been arranged by the government in India. Okay, so I'm sure you have understood this one. Literacy levels. Let us first try to know who is a literate person. A person who is 7 years old and above. Okay, below 7 years are not usually counted, and able to read, write, and understand a simple statement in any language. It may be a Manipuri language, it may be Hindi, it may be English, it may be Marathi, it may be Assamese, etc., etc. Okay, if a person can read if a person who is already 7 years old and above can read, write, and understand a simple statement in any language, that person is a literate person. Okay, why this literacy is important? Because people can make intelligent choice and undertake development projects. So if a person is illiterate, if he cannot read, if he cannot write, it is very difficult to understand. It is very difficult to take decision or to make choices, and even to take development projects, whether it may be in his family, whether even if it is for the society. All right, that is why the importance of literacy is badly needed. And you all know that female literacy is lower or was lower than male literacy. Okay, most of the time. One of the reason is discrimination. In this case also discrimination against girl child. In India, discrimination against girl happens from time to time. You know? So the impact of discrimination is very vast. Okay, so we should not discriminate to the girl child. We must treat them equally as if they are the member of our nation. All right, so that is one of the reason in the exam why there is a low literacy, female literacy in India, because of the discrimination against girl child. And let us try to cover this population change also. Population change refers to the variation in the number of population during a specific period of time. Okay, variation, differences. It takes place due to natural growth, maybe because of the excess of birds over death, most probably. Changes, the population change will take place. Okay, please see the chart that is given in your textbook. Okay, when we come back to school, we will also see together the very chart of this population change, variation in the number of population during a specific period of time. All right, so there are some components of population growth. Okay, some of the factors we can say. First one is fertility. Fertility, it usually it happens or it occurs during the time of birth or occurrence of birth, which you can say. Okay, crude birth rate, number of live births per 1,000 people in a year. Once again, number of live births per 1,000 people in a year. Okay, that's what we call as crude birth rate. Mortality means death at any time after birth. Okay, so these crude death rate are calculated by using 1,000 people in a year, number of deaths per 1,000 people in a year. That's the mortality rate. First one is fertility rate. Okay, so the natural growth rate most probably will be calculated using the formula difference between birth rate and death rate, birth rate minus death rate. Okay, it is just a plus or minus mathematics, a plus minus arithmetic calculation. Okay, natural growth rate could be calculated very easily if we know the number of mortality as well as the number of this birth. Okay, and we'll try to cover another one. Another trend of population change is migration. Migration means change of place or living. It should be or. Okay, so there are two processes, not types, process. First one is immigration. Yeah. Okay, immigration, leaving a country. If a person leave India and went to live somewhere in Pakistan or in the United States of America, this is what we call as immigration. And immigration, this is also read as immigration, but the spellings are different, right? Is arriving in a country. If a person come from Bangladesh and settles in Manipur or in Assam, that is what we call as immigration. Okay, so that is the two processes of migration, change place or living. And there are two types of migration. The first one is international migration. It refers to immigration and migration are both international migration. And internal migration means migration that takes place within a country. It could be a migration from rural to urban. If a person live in a village and shifted to Imphal or to a town, that is what we call as rural urban migration. And urban rural migration, urban to rural. If a person live in a town and went to and just happened to go to a village, okay, or in a rural area, that is urban rural or urban to urban. Okay, from a town to another town or from a city to another city. If a person shifted his living from Mumbai to Delhi, that is urban to urban migration, and even rural to rural migration could also happen. Okay, so lastly but not the least, let us also try to cover the census. Census, as I have already mentioned in the word meaning, counting of people. Okay, it is undertaken every 10 years by the government of India, Census of India, so to say. They are a department of the union government. Even in Manipur, census is done by Directorate of Census Operations. Okay, that office is located in Imphal. All right, so census. I'm sure you have understood what a census is. Counting of people, just simply. Okay, not just simply counting 1, 2, 3, but also to assess education, rate of mortality. All these things are assessed during the time of this census. Well, I think we have done. We will try to continue distribution of population, factors affecting distribution of population, density of population, as well as population of Manipur in the next class. Okay, so I wish you should learn all the notes from the study materials. Please read the textbook thoroughly. Okay, see all the charts, maps that has been given on your textbook also. Okay, so please subscribe to my YouTube channel. May God bless you. Thank you so much for participating in this learning.